In this second video, we're going to look at the gradient of a linear equation a little bit more closely. So the gradient is basically the change in y over the change in x, or as we referred to in the last video, it's the rise over the run. The other way you might also see it written as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what this means, it's the difference between the two y values, which is going to be our height or our change in y, and the difference between my two x values, which is going to be my change in x. So let's look at this example. In this example, I've got a green line, it's my line, going up from left to right. So because it's going up from left to right, the gradient, the slope of the line is positive. Now remember we said in the last video that we can give a number value to that slope. Okay, so our gradient is our change in y, so the difference between the y values or the rise. So we can see here it's gone from 3 up to 6. So my change in y is 3, and my run, or my change in my x values, has gone from 2 to 8, so it's changed by 6 from 2 to 8. So it's 3 divided by 6 gives me a gradient of 1/2, or I could even write that as 0.5. So let's have a look at that using this rule here. It said y2, so if I call this one my second point, that's going to be y2, and that's the 8 is x2, so that's my second point. And if this is my first point, so I always go from left to right, my first point is x1, y1. Okay, so I've got my two coordinates. So I can think that that's going to give me the change in y over the change in x. So y2 was 6, so I've got 6 minus y1, which is 3, 6 minus 3, divided by x2, which is 8, minus x1, which is 2. So 6 minus 3 is 3, 8 minus 2 is 6. Simplify that, so that gives me a gradient of 1/2. So here we have another linear equation, linear equation, a straight line. And now this one, you can see, is just a little bit steeper than the last one. So if we have a look at this one, it's gone, we've got 2 points here, one at 6, 2, so that's my first point, and my second point is at 12, 8. So if I said that the change in y, y2 minus y1, is 8 minus 2, and my change in my x values is 12 minus 6. So 8 minus 2 is 6, 12 minus 6 is 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So this one has a gradient of 1, which basically means that it goes up 1, across 1, up 1, across 1. Or if I went for a large bit, up 2, across 2. So this one has a gradient of 1. In the last two examples, you could see that my line was going up from left to right, so it had a positive gradient. But if we're looking at this line, this is going down from left to right, so my gradient is actually going to be a negative value. So my change in y, it's gone down, so it's gone down from 8 to 2, or even if I did y2 minus 2, 1, this is my second point and that's my first point, I've got 2 minus 8, which gives me negative 6, or it's gone down 6, and then it's gone across from 2 to 6, it's gone across 4, I can think of as x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 2. So it's gone across 4. So from that point to that point, it's gone across 4. So now what I've got is I've got negative 6 divided by 4. I can simplify that, so that becomes negative 3 over 2, or I can also think of that as negative 1.5. All of those are correct. So the main thing to remember in this one is the fact that because my slope is going downhill, my gradient needs to be a negative value. And it's still the same process. I'm looking at how far up or down it's gone, so my rise or my change in y, divided by how far across it's gone, my change in x. And you can do that by visually looking at the graph, or you can do it by taking away the y values divided by the difference in the x values. So I hope that explains the gradient a little bit more, but we will be practicing that further. Thanks.